She's been famous since she was a cutie pie in pigtails at 7. We've watched her grow up before our eyes and rooted for her every step of the way. And now she is an award-winning actress, a businesswoman, and host of her own talk show. I was just on, had such a great time, but her favorite role is mom. Please welcome Drew Barrymore.
Hello,
Here you are.
and thank you so much for having me on. Thank you. I look a little blurry in yours. Is it okay?
No, I think you look great to me. Is she blurry
really?
to you all?
Okay. I go straight to technical and producer mode. I'm like, I look blurry.
So you've said that healthy is your mission of 20. You've said healthy is your mission of 2021, but you want it to be doable. I love that, Drew. Talk about that.
Yeah, Chris, will you make sure that it's clear enough for them if there's any adjustments we need to make? I think this is a good forum also to talk about extremes. And I know that whenever I place an extreme on myself, I tend to fail, especially in the health and wellness department. I just, I'm eating perfectly, I'm working out, I'm feeling good. And then I start this calendar system, oh, wow, I'm going to work out 5 days a week, and then I'm going to take the weekends off, and then I'm going to do this and that. And I make this grand plan, and it always blows up in my face. Part because I'm a really inconsistent human. I think that's probably due a lot to a lifetime of, on the positive side of that, I'm extremely adaptable. I will go anywhere, anytime. Oh, you need me in Shreveport for 3 months? Well, great. I'm moving there. Oh, you need me in Istanbul next week? Oh, I got to go to Australia next. Wherever I need to be, I will go. I have had a life, my whole life, of you never know where the day is going to take you. And it's adventurous and it's malleable. And it's, I think there's a great capacity that comes with not being so staunch about having everything to be so type A and planned. The flip side of that is that I'm always scrambling to create this stability and these systems. And I find when I just go too all in and I think I've got it all mapped out, I just fall off that horse. And then don't even get me started on the shame spiral and the self-loathing that comes right alongside with that. So I think that elusive, I don't know if we're allowed to swear on this, but I'll say B, I think we all know what that stands for. That elusive B named balance has been this cat fight my entire life. I'm pulling her hair, I'm hissing. I'm like, why can I not achieve balance? And that's the word that everybody throws around as the secret of life.
That's why I love Dr. Anita saying earlier that it needs to be satisfaction. What is bringing you satisfaction? Because this whole balance now is unreasonable. It's unreasonable for most people.
You're honestly one of the first people, none other than in Oprah We Trust, is saying this. I can't even believe it. I'm so shocked because there has been this mythological creature named balance that especially women, again, I don't always know what it's like for men, although I think I have quite a masculine side in me and I love androgyny and I want to always feel like since I was a kid, I was welcomed in places and I didn't want to come in angry and I wanted to believe I was welcomed there and how much I loved. We have 2 genders. Why would we negate either of them? But I do know what it's like to be a woman firsthand. And that is a word that haunts us as women.
Yes.
Balance.
That's what Dr. Phillips was saying earlier too, that it haunts us. And I've always said this. You can have it all, you just can't have it all at once. And to think that you can have it all at once, that is unreasonable. And one of the things, particularly if you're a single mother, I know you know this because we were talking about it on your show earlier in the week with Dr. Perry. One of the things that he says that is so striking to me It's on page 206 for those of you who have the What Happened to You book. He says, we're the only country in the world, Drew, only society that insists that a single woman or single parent like Alpha does it all. That no other culture in the world, in the history of the world, has believed or understood that one person was supposed to manage everything. That is just not the case. It is not normal. It is not natural, because in all other cultures and societies, there is like a 4-to-1 ratio where you have grandparents, or you have an aunt, or you have a community leader, a tribes person, the head of the village, who is also a part of the taking care of the children. And so this notion that a single mom is supposed to do the whole thing, or single dad in the case of Alpha and all the other people, dads out there who are doing that, it's unreasonable. So the reason you feel like you want to crack is because it's a crack up kind of situation. So you said last year that is not a time to get lost, it's a time to be found, right? You say you're big on routine. So what kinds of things throw you off?
Well, ironically, being so adaptable, the pandemic reminded me so much of having babies. I was like, oh, I recognize this. I really do. You're home. It's life or death. I mean, it's a joke. We tell ourselves all the time, it's not life or death. So just take that off the stress plate and get grounded and focused about what the realities of the scenario you are dealing with. And when it's new babies or a pandemic, life and death are absolutely at the forefront. They are the realities. So this fight or flight feeling that takes over, and some moms are kind of casual and feel capable. I wasn't one of those. I was in a state I thought was just it was not going to be sustainable. I was so scared. I've never cared so much. I just couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. It wasn't just hormones. It was true fight or flight. And I knew weeks in I wasn't going to make it. And I felt exactly the same way at the beginning of the pandemic. And I thought, oh, wow, this is a very familiar feeling. So if anybody felt like that at the beginning of having babies, there was a familiarity to it. And I felt right back in that place. I knew that I survived that with babies. Nobody knew if they were going to survive. So I felt that adaptable. I can get thrown into any scenario and figure this out. That was soothing to me. Because I would, as much as I'd love to establish routines, I'm so used to the rug being pulled out that I was like, okay, so this is what we're doing and this is how we will do it. But I was with everybody in the fight or flight where we were all so scared and we didn't know what was going to happen. But I strangely was reminded of times where I did make it through with having the babies and being at home and not going out and not leaving the house and everything being so life or death oriented that I felt like I've been here before. And that was a very weird, I didn't expect that old past fear would come as a comfort now.
So what is raising your daughters, what is raising your daughters, 8-year-old Olive and 7-year-old Frankie this past year taught you about motherhood?
It taught me that I was capable of things I did not know I was capable of. I
think everybody can give an amen to that, right? That's true. You've done things you didn't know you could do. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And I'm not very complimentary of myself. I'm not one of those women who's like, I'm every woman and I can do it. I'm much more comfortable in a self-flagellating, self-loathing, like, how can I do things better? Why can't I fix this about myself? I'm constantly always nipping at my own heels. So for me to say that is such growth, I can't even tell you. I feel like the past person in me who had to raise myself is always a taskmaster. I didn't get that love and praise from my parents. I had to be my own parent. So it's like, you will fix this. You will do this. That is the state I'm always in with myself. So for me to say, I realized I was capable and I'm so happy with my strength is the biggest growth spurt I think I've ever had in my life, because it will always be, what do I need to fix? Not recognition of what I've done right. So
It's fantastic.
that was,
Fantastic. Give yourself
thank,
a round of applause for that, Sister Drew.
thank
Really.
you. Um,
So
yeah,
you've often said that you are marching in the army of, what is that phrase you say all the time? That you
optimism.
are,
And I'm
yes,
looking
in
for
the army,
recruits.
and you're looking for recruits. Wow. That's why we love you so much. Your daughter Frankie, I know, recently asked you the meaning of life, such a big question from a 7-year-old, and your answer was so simple yet beautiful. Will you share your answer?
Yes. We were alone. We had been alone for weeks on end, and we were separated. And, you know, everyone I knew and worked with, ideally our country, you know, needs to embrace the rest of the world on community and tribe. But in the pandemic, all bets were off. It was understandably and empathetically an every man for themselves situation. And so my daughters and I found ourselves alone for quite a long time. And we were sitting, she was in a bath, I was sitting on the toilet, not going to the bathroom, just using it as a chair. And she goes, Mom, what's the meaning of life? And I was like, do you mean like, how exactly do you mean this? I want to answer the question correctly. Do you mean like, why are we here? Like, what's it all about? And she was like, you know, what is the meaning of life? And I was like, okay. And I closed my eyes and I truly had what I believe they called divine intervention, because this saying, it didn't have a voice to it. It just came about in very connected, clear, coherent words strung together in a sentence. And it said, again, voiceless, but it was as clear as anything I've ever heard. We are here to take care of each other. And I opened my eyes and I said, Frankie, I believe the meaning of life is that we are here to take care of each other.
Wow.
And I'm so relieved that was the answer. It made so much sense to me. I'd never put it in those terms. I had never had that as a marching order in those words. And yet it feels so true
Yeah,
to my
it
heart.
resonates. As you said it, everybody's nodding because it resonates. So, yes, you did call on some divine power to come up with that answer. That's pretty powerful. And you shared on your show that you got a new tattoo with special meaning. Will you tell us what that is?
I did. Here it is, if you can see it. It's sort of a
It says,
nondescript cursive font,
home is
number of
where we
cursive. May
are.
we not lose that in our school, please. It says, home is where we are. And the reason I came up with that saying was because, you know, I never had that stable family growing up, and that's okay. Like, I can't be more humorous, at peace, and not only okay with it, I just don't believe that if anything had happened differently, I would be where I'm at the many stages of which I've been happy to be at. And the stages I wasn't, I had to fix. And sometimes it took longer than I wanted, and sometimes it didn't. But, you know, I think this Mother's Day is a great reminder. Chloe, I just love what you said to your mom so much. And I hope that I can live up to being someone that my daughters will feel that way about. And Alpha, you know, I don't know why you're not the keynote speaker. I don't know what I am. This conversation, this whole thing should be with, I'm so glad. I was so moved by everything you said. You are definitely my hero for sure. Um, I
We
really
see you, Alpha.
didn't know what home meant. It was kind of this fantasy that I had that I knew I never really had. Adaptable, malleable, I'll go anywhere, anytime. But what was home? What was the thing? And I thought when I had kids, I wanted this really stable home, mom, dad, and it could be gay or straight. It doesn't matter what the love was. Two parents was the goal. Um, and a home, maybe even one that my kids would come into and say, oh, yeah, this is the home where I grew up. And they'd be kind of nonchalant about it because it would just have been so available that it wasn't like a overly meaningful thing to them. How could I make life so stable that they almost were casual, almost let them even be slightly assuming about it all? That's how strong and stable this home I'm going to make for my kids now that this is my chance. Well, I ended up finding myself in divorce. I ended up finding that in order to, their dad moved to New York. I didn't want my children to be away from their father. And I love his family and we're very close. And even though we had a divorce, we said, let's not misstep. Let's just carry on like we are a family, because we are a family. And for the first time in my life, I thought, I know what family is. And it's, you don't, you know, I'm not giving up on this. So no, we're not married and we don't live in the same place, but let's celebrate holidays together. Let's celebrate birthdays. Let's be down the street from each other. Let's have parents visiting day. Let's just have this community that's so strong, since, you know, this one aspect of it is not able to maintain. And I had to sell my home in Los Angeles, which is where I carried my children through the threshold from the hospital. And this was the home, I swear, I would come out of feet first. It was the home I built for myself. I had had it for 20 years. It was the home I swore would be my kids. This was my childhood bedroom. And when I had to sell that home in order to move to New York, it was as hard as the divorce itself. It was like I was giving up. I was doubling down on the giving up of the dream. What I realized is, like your problems, which will follow you in any geographical location, so will your home, as long as you are with the people that you love. Life changes, things happen, plans change. Control has to have a sense of humor. And that home, I've now figured out what the definition of home is. It's wherever we are. It's wherever I am with my kids. And
it's where you choose to build it. Yes.
yeah.
That's
And
what you
it's
have done.
so liberating to realize that. And it just heals everything about my childhood. It makes me look forward to everything in my future. And it is a true liberation to stop holding on to what you think is this ideal, and not also being held back by the fact that you might have not had your ideal. This Mother's Day is a great chance for us to let it go. If we did not have the relationship like Chloe and her mom have, if we don't have a mom we can check in with, you know, or we didn't have a childhood or a mom, maybe our mom, you know, is what kind of punted us into a series of difficult things in our lives, or didn't protect us, or said things, or whatever traumas might have come from our mothers, or triumphs, or everything in between. This is a great time to hold on and appreciate every good thing that was there, but to let go of anything that wasn't as ideal as it could and should have been, and rebuild and give to others what you would have ideally liked for yourself.
Yeah. That's what you do. You take whatever pain, you turn it into your power. Drew, thank you so much for being so open, so vulnerable, for bringing a ray of light to us today. I hope you have a beautiful Mother's Day tomorrow.
Well, if spending it with you guys doesn't make and constitute a well-rounded, healthy, incredible Mother's Day, because the power of choice to me is so important, and everybody choosing to be here. And I listened to the whole forum and took notes on every little thing everybody was saying. I did my workbook as well. And by the way, I'm in the 6 to 8, so that was pretty good. I will be checking in with therapy. I appreciate everything Blondie said, and I made my commitments. And I thank you for letting me into a place like this, because breaking cycles, making these commitments, taking control of our lives, appreciation of everything we have, and it's so important.
There's nothing like
and
it.
This day,
Nothing like
time
it.
has such significance. And I dedicate my Mother's Day to Alpha. By the way, you're the best mom and dad I've ever seen. You're incredible. And I just thank you, Oprah, and your entire team for having me today on this significant weekend that is so beautifully triggering and empowering, and it's just a powerful weekend for people. We all came from someone and somewhere, and to acknowledge that and take ownership of our lives and make our life about taking care of others and loving, as well as figuring out how we take care of ourselves along the way, is vital, so we can keep giving. But I thank you so much, because this for me is such a gift to take this with me into Mother's Day. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, Drew. Drew Barrymore, thank you so much. That's why
you guys. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. And happy Mother's Day.
All right, happy Mother's Day. That's why we come together on these Saturdays